Mr. Williams, this is Robin Johnson, here to speak about the American ideals for period 6, U.S. history. American Ideals, Has the Government Lived Up to Them by Robin Johnson. The Declaration of Independence states that all men are created equal, they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Have we lived up to these ideals? No, we have failed to live up to the ideals as soon as the Declaration of Independence was signed. Rights are the powers or privileges granted to the people either by an agreement among themselves or by law. Are we born with rights? Natural or unalienable rights are rights that all people are born with. No one is allowed to take away those rights, hence being unalienable. The unalienable rights expressed in the Declaration of Independence are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Slaves were denied these unalienable rights and were treated little better than animals. Constitutional rights, as protected by the First and Fourth Amendments, are freedom of religion, freedom of speech, right to assemble, protection from unreasonable search and seizure. These were all violated, threatened, and limited. In recent years, there has been a lot of effort to limit Muslims' freedom of religion. Also, in recent years, there has been a lot of organized effort by the FBI and police to limit demonstration rights, to freedom of speech, and to assemble. The NYPD was recently discovered to have been unconstitutionally spying on virtually all Muslims within a 200-mile radius of New York City. The federal government has been also unconstitutionally and secretively spying on a majority of Americans, monitoring virtually all Americans' electronic activity, including internet web browsing, social networking, email, text, phone calls. Democracy is a system of government which the power to rule comes from the consent of the governed. In many ways, the U.S. has lived up to the ideal of democracy. All states have established initiative and referendum processes that allow citizens to directly introduce or approve proposed laws or amendments to the state constitution. The 17th Amendment, as ratified in 1913, requires that all U.S. senators be elected by popular vote instead of by the state legislators. The 19th Amendment, as ratified on August 18, 1920, prohibited any U.S. citizen to be denied the right to vote. However, African Americans' rights to vote were still protected under the Voting Rights Act of 1965, was signed by President Johnson. Equality is the state of having the same privileges, rights, status, and opportunities as others. Though America has made tremendous progress over time expanding equality, today people in the U.S. are definitely not equal. The earnings ratios in America suggest that white men earn the highest pay above all other people. White women earn 78% of white men. African American women earn 90% of African American men. Hispanic women earn 80% of Hispanic men. On the face of things, circumstances have seemed to change for the better since the Civil Rights Movement. The Civil Rights Movement resulted in the federal government outlawing racial discrimination against African Americans and other minorities. This is a major turning point in U.S. history. However, the new Jim Crow refers to racial discrimination against blacks in today's world. They are convicted of crimes more frequently and prosecuted more unequally than whites. Liberty is freedom to do as one pleases without causing harm to others. The U.S. is supposed to be the land of the free, but to be honest, we as U.S. citizens are having our freedoms limited more and more as time goes on. The government has had a U.S. citizen, Alwar Kali, and a 16-year-old son killed in Yemen. Neither of them were prosecuted for any crime, and the U.S. made no effort to bring him into custody for a trial. The government's rationale for the killing centered around anti-U.S. statements that al-Qawi made, not any verifiable imminent threat. Opportunity is the chance for advancement or progress. In recent years, opportunity for Americans to succeed has been skewed in favor of the wealthiest, while the rest of Americans' opportunities have stayed the same and in many cases gone down. As recently as this year, the Occupy Wall Street movement has brought to our attention the rights of the 99%. Which refers to the majority of Americans who earn much less money and own much less wealth than the 1%. Census data shows that the top 1% of households from 2008 to 2010 had an income of $380,000, which is 7.5 times the average household income. A study by the Federal Reserve in 2007 states that the top 1% had a net worth of nearly $8.4 million, which is 69 times the average household's net worth of $121,000. U.S. Congressional Budget Office estimates that all but the richest 1% of U.S. federal taxpayers are taxed progressively. Highest earning 5% pay 21.5%. Highest 1% only pay 21.3%. In 2011, Warren Buffett demonstrated how regressive the U.S. tax code is. With an income of over $46 million, Buffett pays a tax rate of 17.7%, where his receptionist pays a tax rate of 30%. To wrap up, America has come a long way since the slave days, as blacks do have voting rights. The U.S. as a whole has established initiative and referendum processes that allow citizens to directly introduce or approve proposed laws or amendments to the state constitution. But it can be debated that we have moved further away from living up to the ideals than when we started. Racial discrimination still exists. The government is watching our every move, and the ideals still have not been lived up to. But I believe that there is still hope for America to go in the right direction. Thank you for listening. But I believe that there is still hope for the U.S. to go in the right direction. Thank you for listening.